method was devised by a person called Claude, C-L-A-U-D-E, Bernard, B as in boy, E-R-N-A-R-D, Bernard. Claude Bernard, a French person, 19th century French scientist called Claude Bernard. There are two conditions for the experimental method. If you are testing a variable, then you have to have two sets of variables which are exactly the same, except for that one you're testing. You only modify one variable in the whole system to see what the reaction of the system is to that particular change. And then your conclusions and your results must be replicated by other laboratories or other scientists to be considered a serious scientific discovery. Now let me suggest a possible experiment for you. Say there is a grant that's being offered to the best student proposal for experiment on the in the social sciences. And say you propose an experiment in which you're going to test the effect of rap music on behavior. You want to see whether rap music makes people violent, but has any effect of making people more violent against others. And so you're going to create an experimental group and another group, which you're going to, the control group that you're going to, keep side by side. And so your experimental group, for your experimental group, you're going to keep the people listening to rap music day and night for, say, 3 weeks, see if they become violent. And your control group, no rap music of any kind, and see if in the end you find a difference in the behavior of the two groups. Now for your control group, you're going to choose, say, a group of teenagers from East LA. No rap music for 3 weeks. Okay? And for your experimental group, you're going to choose a group of elderly nuns and subject them to rap music for 3 weeks, see if they become violent against each other. Do you think your experiment would be approved? Would you get the grant? Why not? They're human, aren't they? Well, then, what's the problem? But they're human. We all understand why this experiment wouldn't be approved. Right? It seems to be clear in our eyes. Well, I tell you, if you think that the difference between the teenagers and the nuns is huge, I tell you, the difference between a mouse, you know what a mouse looks like? And this guy or this lady is far bigger than that. If you think that experimenting this variable on a group of nuns and teenagers is crazy, what do you think of experimenting this other variable, this substance, on this little animal in there and pretending that the results of this variable you've introduced in that system, which you know what a little mouse looks like, right? Small. Pretending the results apply to a human being. Do you get the idea? We are talking about two wholly different systems, biomechanical systems, immunological systems. I mean, next time it rains, if you're thirsty, don't spend your money on bottled water. Just go into the streets and we see a puddle in there, go and drink it from there. Your cat does it, your dog does it, rats do it, mice do it, right? Don't we experiment on them pretending they're like us? That's it? Well, it won't work. You'll get sick. They walk on all fours, we work up straight, their cell structure is different. And that varies not just between humans and the rest of animals. It varies from species to species. What can be good for a cat may kill a dog. What can be good for a mouse may kill a rat. How can we pretend that the effect a substance has on an organism of a different species may apply to humans? It seems to me we have a problem there. It seems to me that kind of challenges our sense of rationality, doesn't it? I mean, we've found certain solutions to problems through animal experimentation. Yes, that's true. But can we call that science? I mean, you go to Vegas now and then, and you put money on the slot machine, and hey, you win. But is that a scientific way of making money? Is that a scientific way of making money? Could you plan on your finances by going to Vegas every weekend and see what happens? But sometimes you make money. It's true, right? Well, the same with animal experimentation. Sometimes we hit the right thing, but is that science or is that luck? And you know, when it's a matter of luck, sometimes you have good luck, sometimes you have bad luck. Like when you go to Vegas and you lose, then it's tough, right? Well, believe it or not, there are also those kinds of bad luck issues in animal experimentation. In the 1950s and 60s, I think it was the 60s, I'm not sure, a substance, just to give you one of many examples, a substance called thalidomide, and you can search that on the internet yourselves. Thalidomide was tested on monkeys, chimpanzees. It was perfectly safe. It was supposed to help pregnant women relax. It was commercialized because it has proven to be fully safe in animal testing. It caused a huge international tragedy. There are still today associations of the victims of the thalidomide. Thousands of children were born with horrendous deformities for life. It had been tested on animals. Right? Now, when it comes to the life sciences, we have to be really careful and really precise with the results that we get from experimentation. You may think, well, at least we get some idea. Well, it's not enough to get some idea. It's not enough to get an approximation. It's not enough. I mean, if I tell you that in the room next door we don't have oxygen, there's no oxygen at all, but there is a very similar gas, would you go there for 30 minutes? No oxygen, just very similar, no? Larissa, you need a blood transfusion. No, I'm sorry, we don't have human blood. We have something very similar, chimpanzee blood. Would you take it? No? Why not? It's very similar. No? Now, if I were to tell you that, you know, my lottery tickets do not have the winning number this week. Not the winning number, but the numbers I have are very similar. Would you congratulate me for that? They're very, very similar, really. Of course not. Okay? There's no room for similarity. Now, what you need to understand is that, yes, there has been advance in the medical science. There has been progress through animal experimentation. But the issue is not whether there has been progress or not. You can make money by gambling at Vegas. But is that a rational way of making money? Is that a rational, a scientific way of advancing medicine?
It could be. It could be, because there's some people, if you went to Vegas and you were good enough, whether it be blackjack or whatever, you would identify, hey, I'm really good at poker, and I take home, on average, $2,000 a week. And because of my education and my skills, I can go out and get a job where I make, $1,600. Then it's more profitable and a wise decision, a rational decision to play poker. For some people, that's not the case. But if that was true for me, then it would be smart and rational to play poker.
Well, that's a possible view of it. I do not agree for a couple of reasons. Okay? Well, first of all, because you can never have the guarantee you're going to win. If it's a gambling thing, see, think of the slot machines rather than poker, the slot machines, okay? And number two, because it's not the same to lose money than to play with people's lives. So if you say, okay, well, I go to Vegas, I'm lucky, I've got this sense of when the machine is going to hit the right thing. Maybe it may be your little system. There may be people who have this kind of magic for, but the worst that could happen to you is that you may lose your money, but you're not playing with other people's lives. Right? So I think that's a different issue.
Well, I think it's all the more reason it is, in the case of thalidomide, that